thank you for taking the time to do this.
Thank
You have been on
you.
quite the whirlwind. You just got in from Las Vegas. You were out
Yes,
at CinemaCon
I
where
was.
you and your co-star Dwayne Johnson were on stage to help give a little sneak peek at this film, and where you received the Rising Star Award.
I did.
How was that experience, and what does that award mean to you?
It was really fun. I'd never been to Vegas before, so getting to kind of go there for the first time and get to preview a little bit of our movie with Dwayne, and also getting to receive an award is such an honor. I mean, first award I've gotten for a movie that's not come out yet, so a lot of pride in that. But yeah, it was really fun. It was kind of the craziest experience I've had with this film yet, kind of setting aside making it, so I can imagine things are just gonna get a little weirder.
Now, when the original Moana animated film came out, you were what, about 9 years old?
Yeah,
The same
9.
age my daughter is now. So what did that film mean to you as a kid? How big a part of your childhood was Moana?
I mean, I guess getting to integrate kind of representation and being able to see myself on screen into my life so early on, I think it kind of changes your brain chemistry. You think from the get-go that, you know, that can be a place that you belong, that can be a place where you're represented and where you're supposed to be. And I think that's so important for all young kids, but also specifically young kids from the Pacific Islands. To have that means so much, and I think this movie kind of getting to push that a little further and having some real faces on screen, I think it adds another layer to it.
Yeah. Well, given how much that means to you, auditioning for this role must have been a surreal process.
Oh yeah.
Tell me about the audition process. How many times do you remember reading for the role? What stands out to you about your audition process?
I think the first thing that stands out is how hesitant I was to actually do it. It took a lot of pushing and shoving from my mum to just even get the audition in. I mean, it was one take of how far I'll go, that's all I had to do, and I was so against doing it in a very teenager kind of fashion. But yeah, it would have been February 2023 that we started auditioning, and then I got the role in February of 2024, so it was a full year. Gosh, I can't remember, the number changes depending on who I'm talking to, but I want to say I did like seven auditions for Moana, and the final one was kind of the big one where I was auditioning in front of Tommy Kail, our director, and Alex Lackamore, who was our musical director, in New York City. And it was the first time I'd ever been to New York, and we were in Bernie Telsey's studio, and it had been like the weirdest and wildest thing I'd ever done. And yeah, I feel like that really stands out to me, and I think a moment specifically was at the very end of my audition, my second day of auditioning. I kind of was speaking to Bernie Telsey at the very end, and he gave me a hug, and I think that kind of, you know, rerouted something in my brain that maybe I had it, maybe I'd done good.
Yeah. Well, let's talk then about finding out that you got the role. That had to be surreal. Tell us about
yeah.
that moment. What were the emotions of learning that you were about to become Moana?
It was a very odd experience. I was in my mum's office. My mum's a deputy principal, so I was sitting in her office kind of before school had started. We were on a Zoom with Tommy Kail, and he said, well, this is the best news I get to deliver today. So I was like feeling pretty good, and then obviously he said, we would love for you to play our live action Moana, and it was kind of, all the emotions kind of hit me like a bus. I was like, oh, okay, now I actually have to do it. Now I've committed, and I've got to do it. So a lot of pressure, I think, was the first thing I felt, but also just a lot of relief that all that effort and all that work I'd put in had kind of led to something and had got me somewhere. So I felt so proud. I called all my siblings, I called my dad. There was like a fan event, and then I had to go straight back to school. So it was very much like from 0 to 100, straight back to 0.
Yeah. This is surreal for me to be having this conversation with you, because it feels like only yesterday I was having this conversation with Auli'i, who's obviously the voice of Moana in the animated film and also an executive producer on this film. And she has shared with me how excited she is about what you bring to this role.
Wow.
What has your relationship with Auli'i been like, and what sort of advice has she given you as you've stepped into this role?
I mean, I love the 2016 so much. I mean, we couldn't be here literally without that movie. So I think trying to stay as true to the character that she represented so beautifully and trying to do it as authentically as she did was something that was so important to me, kind of stepping into this role and stepping into the shoes that she left. She was so gracious when passing on the baton of Moana. I mean, it must be something I can only imagine, because of how it is for me, it must be something that's so sacred to her and so important to her. So to be able to pass it down the line, I think really is a test to her character. She was very much like a big sister energy on set. I think she came and visited us a couple of times and was just really good about helping kind of bring the nerves down. I think it's a stressful thing to have to step into a role that somebody's already captured so beautifully. But I think she really helped me kind of set in my brain that, you know, I was going to do it differently, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Now, we're sitting here having this conversation in a resort tower that you and I just
We are.
toured, and it's based on Polynesian stories, both real and imagined, Moana obviously being one of them. You talked earlier about representation. So what does that mean to you as you see places like this and stories like this film representing Polynesian people and cultures?
I think as kind of Polynesian culture and different elements of where we come from and all of the Pacific Islands, as they get more immersed into just the day-to-day, I think it's the best step forward we can take into people like me and others from my culture being able to kind of step into every single version of a role, a job, anything that they want to be. I think this movie, specifically the live action, means so much because there is so much representation. People don't have to see themselves in me. They can see themselves in Maui, in Dwayne. They can see themselves in Chief Tui. They can see themselves in Sina. Maybe their mothers watching the film and thinking about their daughters growing up. I mean, there's so many familiar faces that are so iconic to Polynesian and Pacific Islander culture. I think being able to see those and recognize those as something from home is so important for us to help connect and for people to help learn about where we come from.
Now, whenever I have the pleasure of visiting with an artist who's stepping into a dream role, I love hearing about the moment where that dream started feeling real. Some will tell me about the first table read, or maybe it's the first costume fitting, or a first day on set. What was it for you? When did you start feeling like, oh my gosh, this is real, I am Moana?
I feel like there's so many different times that it kind of dawned on me. Definitely a first costume fitting, the first time I kind of put that outfit on and was like, oh, okay, yeah, I kind of do look like her. But I want to say the first time it really, really set in for me was when we worked with these incredible dancers from Nonosina, which is a dance company based out of LA. And kind of the first time we were surrounded by that kind of energy, and Dwayne explains it perfectly, his favorite word, mana, that kind of energy, that spirit, that feeling that is just, that lives so vibrantly within the Pacific Islanders. I think the first time I was with all of those dancers and we were, you know, listening to the music, we were learning these dances, it kind of felt the most real that it could. I mean, this is who Moana represents, this is who Moana is about. It was kind of a step back from all the production side of it and all of the, you know, bits that you have to cheat out for movies. It was everything that makes this movie real.
Yeah. Have you started to wrap your head around the ways your life is about to change in terms of how you will be recognized when you are out and about? I brought my 9-year-old daughter with me to the shoot today. I know how excited she was to meet you. That's going to happen more and more as a film of this scale reaches the world. Have you thought about that?
I have thought about it. I haven't settled my decision on how I feel about it. I'm quite a private person, I think. So the idea that someone could just like call out my name on a street is a little weird. I mean, my dad is in the industry, so every now and then we would hear people call out his name, and a couple of my siblings do work in the industry as well. So I feel like I have an idea on what it's going to be like, but to the scale of it, it's bizarre. But I was walking around Disney World today and not a thing was said, so I'm safe for now.
For now.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, a lot of these fans that are going to be over the moon excited to see you and meet you will be kids.
Yes.
What do you specifically hope that kids get out of this film?
I think for all of the little kids who watch it, doesn't matter where you come from, I think it's such a beautiful story about perseverance. It's such an incredible story about finding yourself, and for a little kid to watch that, specifically the young women to watch that and kind of watch this girl conquer the world, not as a princess, as a warrior, as, you know, she's a girl in a skirt and she's doing everything she could possibly imagine. I think that's such a great message for little girls to be able to see. Like young girls like your daughter being able to see this powerful, strong woman, you know, take on challenges. She bosses around this demigod. She does everything, and I think she, you know, she does it with grace, and she does it with kindness, and she does it with patience. And I think those are great attributes that young kids should want to have. So I think it's just a great movie to inspire kids to look beyond the reef, to, you know, try the things that seem impossible.
And finally, we've talked about family, and at its heart, Moana is a story of family.
Yes.
What do you hope your family gets out of seeing this film, seeing not only you, but their culture?
I hope they're incredibly proud. I mean, I disappeared for like 7 months, so I hope they kind of realize where I went. I hope they, you know, they can look at it and they feel represented in a way. My I'm someone on my dad's side, so for him to be able to watch it and feel a sense of pride, to feel represented, I think is one of the most important things. And kind of for them to think that I'm cool, that would be great. I'm the second youngest of a big crew, so if my older siblings can watch it and go, okay, she's got something, I think that's a tick of approval for me.
I think you've got a good shot at that. Well, thank you
you.
again for being here. You mentioned earlier to me that you hadn't been to Walt Disney World since you were 6 months old, so try not to wait another 20 years before you come see us again.
I will try, thank you.
Thank you.